On Saturday, November 6, 2004, members of the Middlebury Conference participated in a mock town meeting, which lasted 90 minutes and was moderated by Rick Foley of Brattleboro, Vermont. Dozens of Vermonters also participated from surrounding communities. Actor James Hogue of East Montpelier showed up in costume and participated as Ethan Allen. Actor Guster Casey of Thetford appeared as Thomas Jefferson. The University of Vermont's Frank Bryan, Vermont's leading spokesman and scholar for town meetings and small d democracy, also participated, as did the nation's leading scholar on the subject of secession, philosopher Donald Livingston of Emory University. This short film captures some of what these leading spokespeople had to say.
I'm the guy that debated the Supreme Court Justice John Dooley on the question of Vermont secession in 1991. I don't know how many of you know this, but on our 200-year celebration of joining the Union, the legislature actually passed a resolution and appropriated money that would fund a debate on whether or not Vermont should secede from the Union in 7 towns in Vermont. Judge Dooley debated the case of staying in the Union. I debated for secession. All 7 Vermont towns voted about 5-3 for secession. The problem with it was, and I think this is a danger for our group, it began as kind of a cute little movement that would be fun and show our independence and our obstinacy, and perhaps, Kirkpatrick, our colossal mistake. I should tell you too, Kurt, that if you think you've got troubles now, next summer Dooley and I may debate the question of whether or not New York should pay with interest reparations on the $30,000 blackmail you forced us to pay your tyrannical state of county government in New York. So you could be owing us in real dollars something like $17 billion. But anyways, the debates went very well. They were carried on CNN. The last debate in the legislature, the press said it was the largest crowd in modern history in the state legislature. The governor at that time, it was then getting serious, too much national attention. There had been a movement to actually introduce a bill. Again, it would just be cute, right? On whether we should secede rather than stay in. And the powers that be were getting a little bit the jokes out of hand, kind of. And so they withdrew the resolution. The final debate, I think Jerry was there, I'm not sure. The governor pulled in all the bureaucrats and all the big shots from Montpelier to make sure at least one vote went no, but we got a couple busloads from the Northeast Kingdom that voted to secede yet again. I really don't know what Jerry wants to thrust. I don't know what to tell you. I know you've been struggling with the word secession. I know it's a dangerous word. It's a fine line between doing something that identifies us as buffoons and doing something that's deadly serious. And I don't know how to walk that line. I'm here because I'm serious. But the politics of it, of course, it won't happen in our lifetime. I wrote an article, a serious article in Chronicles called Going It Alone. And I think it will be reprinted is Ian's gone? Anyways, in one of the next issues. And
the second Vermont Independence.
Yeah, yes. And I can tell you this, as a political scientist, when you really think about all the arguments against secession, and you have to write a serious piece for it that will be judged and printed. It's very interesting, the difference between the spoken word and the printed word. The printed word it really has a certain seriousness about it. Every single argument that I brought against myself was easily overcome. on economic, cultural, military, historian, you name it, we'd be a lot better off as an independent republic. On the other hand, many of us are patriots. We were raised that way as Americans. We love our country. I do. If I were to suggest anything, it would use the word secession. Because if we're going to be ballsy, let's be ballsy. But it would modify it with move toward. My vision is that my great-grandchildren will grow up in a world, as Leopold Gore said, of 1,000 flags, where the United States no longer exists as a sovereign entity. There will be none. But that's 200 years down the road. I don't know, Jerry, that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Well, I would agree with most of what was said there. The question is, are the American states sovereign political societies? If they are, then they formed a compact among themselves to create a central government. If they've specified no term of limitation of that, such as the treaty that Britain had with Hong Kong to lease Hong Kong for 99 years, then the Union can be rescinded at will, if it's a sovereign state. And so that's the question. When Vermont joined the Union, or any other state, did it renounce its sovereignty? And there's no record of that. I mean, as I say, sovereignty cannot be, you cannot lose sovereignty by implication. It has to be explicitly renounced. Each state delegated powers to the central government that are enumerated in the Constitution, but to delegate powers is not to explicitly renounce sovereignty. So unless you explicitly renounce sovereignty, all you've done is delegate powers. And if you're a sovereign state, you can recall them. That's the argument. And that's why Rhode Island put in her ordinance of ratification the right to secede, so did New York and so did Virginia, as you point out. Excuse me, I'm about to lose my voice. I think that's about it. And one other thing, to ask whether it's legal sounds like you have to go to the Supreme Court, but that's a mistake. It's not justiciable. That's to say, there are some questions that no court can decide that are so vast and of such great scale that no court can enforce them. And secession is one of those. Secession is a question that has to be decided among the sovereign states themselves. If they won't let you go, and they're going to force it, you can't go. If they don't, you can go. But no Supreme Court could resolve this issue. It's not justiciable. It's a political question, not a